So the Israelis have gone and massacred Palestinians who are just waiting around for food. And it's really incredible because they tried to publish footage to exonerate themselves, and they just end up proving even more that this is true. They did it last time and they did it again now. So there's a place in Gaza, it's the Kuwait roundabout. People had gone there waiting for food, expecting food, and then they just get mowed down by an Israeli helicopter. And there have been several investigations about this. It's so bad that once again, this is even appearing in mainstream media. So the outlets like CNN and BBC that usually cover for Israel and lie for Israel and protect Israel, even in this case, they can't do anything but report on it because of how egregious it is. So now this is being dubbed the Flower Massacre 2.0 because they just did it last week. Just like last week, they committed one of these massacres. They killed 112 people who were waiting for food. They injured 750 people waiting for food on the beach. That's last week. And now we come to this one. So look at this. This is from CNN. Attack kills 20 and injures 155 at Gaza food aid point. And this is, again, Friday, March 15th. Okay, so it's the second massacre. That's the Kuwait roundabout. Just so you have a geographical orientation of where we're situated. It's in the north of Gaza. So 20 people were killed, 155 wounded by Israeli shelling as they waited for desperately needed food on Thursday, a claim that Israel vehemently denied. Yes, I'm sure. And then, of course, the Israelis who investigate themselves find no wrongdoing, right? Well, I'm sorry, but the photo evidence is rather clear and too clear, okay? Let me show you what happened on that day, and it's really sickening. It's really sickening. So Euromed did an investigation on this. This is a photo from what happened. And also, let me read to you here some eyewitness testimony, what they said. So an Israeli helicopter fired on a crowd of thousands of Palestinians waiting for aid at the Kuwait roundabout in Gaza City. A local resident told Middle East Eye, quote, "We gathered, we were all shot at, there was no mercy. We were slaughtered, they killed my brother. There are over 50 people killed, all severed limbs. There was no mercy at all. It was just for some flour." So now we know that it's 20, but I mean, seeing this massacre, you would assume that. And remember that when you have so many people wounded afterwards, some of them may die because they're in critical condition and there's no medicine, there's no water. So if you are wounded and you have an infection or any sort of, your body can't heal, just like normal healing, never mind fighting an infection. You're screwed if you're wounded, never mind killed. So he says he described bodies being taken to hospital in parts following the attack. This is something that really, I mean, he's saying it, but I've seen so much footage of body parts in Gaza. It's really, you can't imagine how awful it is. You can't imagine how awful it is, and I can't show a lot of it, but let me continue. He said, we are not going to kill. We are just going to get food for children. He wailed, distraught. It was a massacre. We were slaughtered. There was no mercy. And he said that his brother's children now will have no one to care or provide for them anymore. By the morning, Muhammad said that dogs had gathered around the dead bodies because they were not able to take them away. Daily massacres. Amjad Ahmad, a young Palestinian who was queuing up to get aid at the time of the attack, said that Israeli jets circled above them. He says that his cousin was one of those who were killed in the attack. Who is going to get food for the children now, he asked, adding that white phosphorus was also used. So again, those are white phosphorus is a chemical weapon. It's banned. According to Ahmed, the attack happened at around 9 p.m. because they had to wait until Friday morning. According to Ahmed, the attack happened at around 9 p.m., but they had to wait until Friday morning just to collect the bodies of the dead. A doctor from the emergency department at Al-Shifa Hospital told Middle East Eye that most of the people who were brought to the hospital after the attack needed to be operated on. The doctor says by 3 in the morning, we had around 120 people and 25 were killed. Most of the people had been shot in the stomach and the chest. He added that some of those had also been crushed due to chaos and the amount of people at the site. He says, we don't have x-rays or ultrasounds at the hospital. The electricity was also cut during the night. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Really, I don't even know what to say. This is another testimony from a Gaza resident that was posted on Twitter. And he said that usually my dad prevents us from going to get aid from El Kuwait roundabout. He says staying hungry would be better than any of us getting harmed. My brother left secretly today and told me not to tell my parents. I was very stupid to listen to him. Now there are 50 martyrs there and he has not come yet, and I feel that my heart is going to explode and I feel guilty. You also have the same story. So I've shown you CNN, Middle East Eye, and now this is Sky News. They said the same thing. You know, at least 29 killed in Israeli attacks as they waited for aid. And here's the crazy thing is that the more you research and you read about this, and because you know, I spend hours and hours and hours collating information. You start to understand this is obviously on purpose, but it's systematic. You know, it's happening on a daily basis. And it's very confusing because you see like, okay, well, there were 8 killed here. How is it 29? Then you find, oh, these are unrelated to each other. This was at El Kuwait roundabout. This was over there. So they say here the first incident on Thursday saw 8 people killed in an airstrike on an aid distribution center in the Nusayrat camp. Okay? And then later, so now we come to the incident that I've been talking to you about for the last 5 minutes. Later, 21 people were killed at the roundabout. So those are 2 separate things. Okay? So you had 8 people killed by an airstrike, then 20 people killed at the Kuwait roundabout, and then last week 112 people killed, and every single time it's just people waiting for food. I mean, really, just I'm speechless. You know, I'm speechless. And I want to show you something which I found quite by accident. Actually, it's from one of you who follows me, who put together a rather excellent expose. And I'm not aware of this person, but thank you to Michael Cobbs, who follows me, who put together an excellent debunking of the footage released by the Israelis. Because once again, the Israelis think that they can exonerate themselves with doctored, tampered with footage. And actually what they end up doing is just proving that the massacres happened because they think people are idiots. So what Michael Cobbs did here, and again, thank you to them, is take apart the Israeli footage. And something which I found really incredible, because this is the footage they released, right? Where they're saying, no, we didn't kill the Palestinians. There was a gunman in the crowd, you know? Some guy with a Kalashnikov just walked up and started killing people. Oh, really? Okay, well, let's look at the video. Let's see if we can find anything wrong with it. I mean, first of all, and I'm so glad that he brought this up, but Michael Cobbs, but he goes even further into detail. Did you notice how when he's firing, there's like the bullet casing falling out? But hold on a second, this is drone footage. And the casing is like the size of your finger, let's say, okay? For a Kalashnikov, it's about this big. From a drone, you're not going to see it. You just won't see it. It looks like the size of his head. Do you see how when he's firing, there are casings coming out? There's a flash. Yeah, look, that's enormous. The Israelis are basically playing They're playing tricks with our eyes. Because there's a flash and a casing, a flash and a casing. But hold on, you can't see the casing from that height. That's ridiculous. So that was the first tell. And then, of course, the fact that no one is reacting to this gunman, right? So it's so bad. The propaganda is so bad, truly bad. And then he says here that, as I just pointed out, it would be extremely astonishing because the bullet casing is about the size of the man's little finger. And the resolution of the video is too poor to make out a hand. Exactly. Thank you. But he goes even further into detail and he explains how the AK-47 works. Very, very good. And then he says basically that the flashes don't make sense. Okay? He says that the shooter would have to shoot to the left into the crowd. And then what's strange is also that the heat cloud flashes for exactly one frame and starts directly on the body, but there's no heat at the end of the barrel. Okay? It's very, very clinical and surgical, this whole thread. So again, you know, thank you for that, and I encourage you guys to read it if you haven't had the time to. I found it completely by accident, but it's very well put together. Although to be fair, and again, you know, we don't need to debunk or take apart the Israelis' footage to know that they're bullshitters. They're the biggest liars on the planet. I wouldn't trust the Israelis to tell me what time it is. No. I wouldn't trust them to tell me what time it is or what the weather is. Never mind, you know, believe that, you know, a gunman just like randomly. What do they think we are, stupid? Since when do people just randomly walk around and shoot into crowds in Gaza? When does that ever happen? What is this rubbish? I mean, the Israelis certainly do it, but I don't know any people from, you know, they're insinuating that someone from Hamas or a Palestinian did it. Well, rubbish, absolute garbage. So, you know, this is really, really disgusting business, what they're doing. This murdering people who are waiting for food. And that's why, you know, it's been dubbed the Flower Massacre and then the Flower Massacre 2.0. And I want to show you a picture, a photograph, which I saw from Gaza, which really drives the point home, and is quite disturbing. Give me a second to pull this up. It's quite literally a bag of flour, and you really see, you know, how disturbing it is. You really see how disturbing it is. Take a look.
وأصر على إحضار هذا الكيس على هذه.
Here. This is from the Kuwait massacre, right? The latest one at the roundabout. Shocking, really just horrible.
هذا المواطن وأصر على إحضار هذا الكيس على هذه النقطة لما حصل مع هذا المواطن بعد حصوله على كيس مخصص بالدماء. حدثنا أكثر عن ما حصل.
تركوا الناس كلهم دخلوا الحفرة، نزلوا عليهم بالقذايف، ما خلوش ولا واحد فيهم عايش. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيهم. الكيس هذا كان لشهيد. هاي دموا عليه. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل في. أصبح روح البني آدم كيس طحين. تزهد روح بني آدم عشان كيس طحين. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
طبعا هذا كيس لشهيد ارتقى أحضره هذا الشاب. كان الشهيد أصيب قبل ارتقائه أو التأكد من استشهاده، وهذا الكيس المخصب بالدماء هو حال الكثيرين يصلون إلى هذه النقطة مخصبين بالدماء.
Yeah, it truly does. It truly does. A human life is worth a bag of flour in Gaza. That is the current exchange rate. And, you know, when I see images like this, and the ones that I'm about to show you, which are even worse, if you can possibly comprehend. When I see these images, I think the only thing that one can think, which is fuck Israel.